In a world of endless distractions and instant gratification, true discipline has become a rare and powerful virtue. Most people drift through life at the mercy of their impulses, external circumstances, and the opinions of others. They seek comfort over growth, entertainment over enlightenment, and excuses over results. But not you, not anymore. You've chosen a different path, the path of the Stoic warrior. For the next 3 months, you will embark on a transformation that the ancient philosophers knew was the key to a life of meaning, resilience, and inner peace. Discipline isn't just about forcing yourself to do difficult things. It's about aligning your actions with your highest values and becoming sovereign over your own mind. As Epictetus, born a slave who later became one of history's greatest Stoic teachers, wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This is not merely a collection of productivity hacks or morning routines. This is a comprehensive system to rewire your mind, strengthen your will, and build habits that withstand any challenge life throws at you. The principles and practices outlined here draw from timeless Stoic wisdom, tested through centuries by emperors and slaves alike, and enhanced with modern psychological understanding. By the end of these 3 months, you won't recognize the person who began this journey. Where there was weakness, there will be strength. Where there was hesitation, there will be decisive action. Where there was chaos, there will be order. But be warned, this path is not for everyone. It requires honesty with yourself, dedication to daily practice, and a willingness to embrace discomfort. You will face resistance from within and without. Your old self will fight to survive. The world around you will test your resolve. Are you prepared to meet these challenges? Are you willing to become the person you were meant to be? If so, turn the page and begin your transformation. The ancient Stoics await you with their hard-earned wisdom, ready to guide you toward unshakable discipline and the freedom that comes with it. Month 1. Foundations of Stoic Discipline. He who is not contented with what he has would not be contented with what he would like to have. Socrates. Week 1. Mastering your perceptions. Day 1. The dichotomy of control. The foundation of Stoic discipline begins with a simple yet profound distinction, understanding what is within your control and what is not. This distinction, which Epictetus called the dichotomy of control, is the cornerstone upon which all Stoic practice is built. Stoic wisdom. Some things are within our power, while others are not. Within our power are opinion, motivation, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever is of our own doing. Not within our power are our body, our property, reputation, office, and in a word, whatever is not of our own doing. Epictetus and Kyridian. Today's practice. Morning reflection, 10 minutes upon waking. Take your journal and draw a vertical line down the middle of the page. Label the left column within my control and the right column outside my control. Fill each column with aspects of your life, being brutally honest about what truly belongs where. Control pause throughout the day. Each time you feel frustrated, anxious, or upset today, pause and ask yourself, is what I'm concerned about within my control or outside of it? If it's outside your control, practice saying to yourself, this is not within my power to change directly. I can only control my response to it. Evening analysis. 10 minutes review your day and identify 3 instances where you expended emotional energy on things outside your control. For each instance, write an alternative response that focuses only on what you could control in that situation. Remember, this is not about abandoning concern for the world around you. Rather, it's about directing your energy toward what you can actually influence and finding peace with what you cannot. Day 2. Objective perception. The way we perceive events determines how we respond to them. Most suffering comes not from events themselves, but from the judgments we attach to them. Today, you'll begin training yourself to see things as they are, not as you fear, hope, or assume them to be. Stoic wisdom. Remove the judgment, and you have removed the thought, I am hurt. Remove the thought, I am hurt, and you have removed the hurt itself. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. Today's practice. Bare facts exercise, morning. 5 minutes, choose a challenging situation you're currently facing. On paper, describe it using only objective facts, as if you were a camera merely recording what happened. No judgments, no emotions, no interpretations. just the bare events. Separation practice. Throughout the day, when facing any situation today, mentally separate your description of what's happening from your evaluation of it. Say to yourself, this is happening, and separately, this is what I'm thinking about what's happening. Judgment inventory, evening, 10 minutes at day's end. List 5 automatic judgments you made today. For each, write the objective fact and then your subjective judgment. Then ask, is this judgment necessary? Is it serving me? Could I see this differently? Challenge. For 1 hour today, try to experience events without labeling them as good or bad. Simply observe and respond as needed, without the additional layer of judgment. Day 3. The present moment. Discipline requires presence. When your mind is scattered, dwelling in the past, or anxious about the future, your actions lack power and purpose. The Stoics knew that true power exists only in the present moment, the only time in which we can actually exercise our will. Stoic wisdom. True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is sufficient. The greatest blessings of mankind are within us and within our reach. A wise man is content with his lot, whatever it may be, without wishing for what he is not. Seneca. Today's practice. Presence bell. Throughout the day, set a subtle alarm to ring randomly 5 to 7 times today. When it sounds, pause whatever you're doing and ask yourself, where's my mind right now? Am I fully present or lost in thoughts about past or future? Gently bring your attention back to the present moment and what's directly in front of you. Single tasking challenge. Choose 3 routine activities today: eating a meal, washing dishes, walking somewhere, and do them with complete presence. No phone, no television, no daydreaming, just the activity itself, experienced fully. Evening reflection. 5 minutes, write about the difference between moments when you were fully present today versus when your mind was elsewhere. What did you notice about your effectiveness, your enjoyment, and your sense of control? Remember, the present moment is your point of power. It is the only moment in which choice is possible. Day 4. Negative visualization. Premeditation malorum. One of the most powerful Stoic techniques for building mental resilience is negative visualization, or premeditation of evils. This practice involves contemplating potential hardships not to induce anxiety, but to reduce it by removing the shock of unexpected difficulties and helping you appreciate what you already have. Stoic wisdom. He robs present ills of their power who has perceived their coming beforehand. Seneca. Today's practice. Morning contemplation. 5 minutes before starting your day. Briefly consider 3 things that could go wrong today. Don't dwell on catastrophes, but rather realistic challenges that might arise. For each, ask yourself, how would I handle this with dignity and wisdom? What virtue would I need to display? Gratitude through loss. 10 minutes, consider 3 people, possessions, or abilities that you value in your life. For each one, vividly imagine what life would be like if you lost it. Then, return to the present with renewed appreciation for its presence in your life. Bedtime rehearsal 5 minutes before sleep. Briefly imagine one significant challenge you might face tomorrow. Mentally rehearse facing it with courage, wisdom, and temperance. See yourself responding rather than reacting. Important note: the purpose of this practice is not to induce anxiety or pessimism. Rather, it's to remove the brittleness that comes from expecting life to always go smoothly. As Seneca said, the man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive. Day 5. Voluntary discomfort. Comfort is the enemy of discipline. When we organize our lives around the avoidance of discomfort, we become weak and easily derailed by life's inevitable hardships. The Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort to strengthen their tolerance for difficulty and to reduce their dependence on external circumstances for happiness. Stoic wisdom. Set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared? Seneca. Today's practice. Cold exposure. Morning, end your shower with 30 seconds of cold water. Focus on your breath and maintaining equanimity despite the discomfort. Hunger awareness. Delay a meal today by at least an hour after you first feel hungry. Use the hunger as an opportunity to observe the sensation without judgment and to remind yourself that you can function perfectly well even when slightly uncomfortable. Digital minimalism. 2-hour period. Choose a 2-hour block today during which you'll completely disconnect from digital devices. No phone, no computer, no television. Notice any withdrawal symptoms and sit with them rather than seeking to escape. Evening reflection. 5 minutes, write about what you learned from today's discomforts. Did you discover any unnecessary dependencies? Any strength you didn't know you had? Remember, the purpose is not to punish yourself, but to expand your capacity to function well under less than ideal conditions. As Musonius Rufus taught, we must undergo hardship and train ourselves to be prepared for events of all sorts. Day 6. The view from above. Perspective is essential for discipline. When we're caught in the minutiae of daily concerns, we often lose sight of what truly matters. The Stoic practice of the view from above helps us zoom out and see our lives, challenges, and goals within the larger context of human existence and cosmic time. Stoic wisdom. Consider yourself to be dead and to have completed your life up to the present time, and now live according to nature the surplus that is allowed you. Marcus Aurelius. Today's practice. Cosmic perspective meditation. 10 minutes, find a quiet place and close your eyes. Imagine yourself rising above your current location, seeing your home from above, then your city, country, planet, solar system, and galaxy. From this vantage point, consider your current concerns and goals. What remains important? What diminishes in significance? Memento mori reflection. Spend 5 minutes contemplating the reality that your life is finite. Rather than dwelling on this with fear, use it as motivation to focus on what truly matters today. Ask yourself, if I died next week, would I be proud of how I spent today? Legacy journaling. 10 minutes, write a brief paragraph about how you would like to be remembered 100 years from now. What qualities and contributions would you want to be known for? How does this vision align with how you're currently living? Challenge. When faced with the frustration today, mentally zoom out and ask, will this matter in a month, a year, 10 years? Let your answer guide your response. Day 7. Weekly integration and review. The Stoics understood that knowledge without application is empty. Today is about reviewing what you've learned, assessing your progress, and preparing for deeper integration in the coming week. Stoic wisdom. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. Today's practice. Knowledge review. 15 minutes, go back through your notes from a week. For each daily theme, write down the core principle in your own words. How this principle can strengthen your discipline. Any insights or challenges you experienced when applying it. Honesty assessment. 10 minutes, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on how consistently you applied each practice. Be ruthlessly honest. The Stoics valued truth above comfort. For any score below 7, identify what specific obstacles prevented fuller implementation. Week ahead planning. 15 minutes, choose 2 practices from this week that you found most valuable for building discipline. Make a concrete plan for how you will incorporate these into your daily routine in the coming week. In addition to the new practices you'll be learning. Journal prompt. How has my understanding of discipline evolved this week? What aspects of my thinking or behavior have already begun to shift? Remember, the goal is progress, not perfection. As Epictetus said, practice yourself, for heaven's sake, in little things, and thence proceed to greater. Week 2. Aligning actions with values. Day 8. Clarifying your personal constitution. Just as a nation needs a constitution to govern itself wisely, you need a clear personal constitution to guide your decisions and actions. Without this clarity, discipline becomes directionless force or rigid adherence to arbitrary rules rather than purposeful self-governance. Stoic wisdom. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. Today's practice. Values excavation. 30 minutes in your journal. Answer these questions. What 3 virtues do you most admire in others? When have you felt most proud of yourself? What values were you honoring in those moments? What would you stand for even if it cost you something significant? If you could be known for embodying 3 qualities, what would they be? Personal constitution draft, 20 minutes based on your answers. Draft a personal constitution of 5 to 7 core values that will guide your decisions and actions. For each value, write a brief statement of what it means to you specifically. Values in action plan. Choose one value from your constitution and identify 3 specific ways you will express this value through your actions tomorrow. Evening review question. How aligned were my actions today with my stated values? Or did I honor them? And where did I compromise? Remember, your personal constitution is not meant to be perfect on the first attempt. It's a living document that you'll refine through experience and reflection. Day 9. Morning routine as sacred practice. How you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. A disciplined morning routine is not just about productivity. It's a sacred ritual that affirms your commitment to your highest self and prepares your mind for the challenges ahead. Stoic wisdom. Ask yourself at daybreak, what remains for me to do to be good and happy? Marcus Aurelius. Today's practice. Routine design. 15 minutes create a morning routine that includes a moment of stillness, meditation, breathing, or silent contemplation. Physical movement. Even just 5 to 10 minutes. Engagement with Stoic wisdom. Reading a passage or contemplating a quote. Review of your personal constitution and primary goals. Identification of potential challenges and your planned response. Implementation. Follow your designed routine this morning, even if you need to wake up earlier than usual. Pay attention to resistance and distractions without yielding to them. Evening reflection. 10 minutes, write about how your morning routine, or lack thereof, affected the rest of your day. What elements seem most valuable? What adjustments would make it more sustainable and meaningful? Stoic insight. The morning hours have special power because your mind is fresh and the world's demands haven't yet fragmented your attention. Guard this time jealously as an investment in the quality of your entire day. Day 10. Intention setting and the power of prohairesis. The Stoics placed enormous importance on intention, what they called prohairesis, our capacity to choose how we will approach each situation. Discipline is strengthened when we act with clear intention rather than by habit, impulse, or external pressure. Stoic wisdom. Pay attention to what's in front of you, the principle, the task, or what's being portrayed. Marcus Aurelius. Today's practice. Morning intentions, 10 minutes after your morning routine. Set 3 to 5 specific intentions for the day. These should focus on how you will approach your activities, not just what you'll accomplish. For example, I will speak with complete honesty in my team meeting, or I will approach difficult tasks first, without procrastination. Transition moments. Before each new activity today, starting work, entering a meeting, beginning a conversation, etc. Pause for 10 seconds to reset your intention. Ask yourself, how do I choose to show up for this? What virtue do I want to embody? Evening audit. 10 minutes review your day's intentions and assess your follow-through. For any gaps between intention and action, identify the specific trigger that diverted you. Practice tip. Set a silent alarm for 3 to 4 random times throughout your day. When it sounds, ask yourself, am I acting with clear intention right now, or am I on autopilot? Day 11. Breaking the chains of procrastination. Procrastination is one of the greatest enemies of discipline. When we procrastinate, we place our momentary comfort above our long-term well-being and goals. The Stoics viewed this as a form of self-betrayal. Stoic wisdom. While we waste our time hesitating and postponing, life is slipping away. Seneca. Today's practice. Procrastination inventory. 15 minutes in your journal. Make a list of tasks you've been putting off. Next to each, honestly write down the real reason you're avoiding it, the price you're paying for the delay, the first small step that would move it forward. The 5-minute rule. Choose 3 tasks from your procrastination inventory. For each one, commit to working on it for just 5 minutes today. Set a timer and begin immediately after identifying each task. Often, starting is the hardest part, and momentum will carry you beyond the 5 minutes. Consequence visualization, 5 minutes for your most significant procrastinated task. Vividly imagine two futures. One where you continue to procrastinate indefinitely, and one where you complete the task. Be detailed about how each scenario affects your life 6 months from now. Evening journal prompt. What did I learn about my procrastination patterns today? What specific strategy was most effective in breaking through resistance? Stoic exercise. Each time you feel the urge to postpone an important task today, say to yourself, I am choosing temporary comfort over my true good. Feel the full weight of that choice before deciding how to proceed. Day 12. Energy management and strategic rest. True discipline includes knowing when and how to rest. The Stoics understood that constant exertion without recovery leads to burnout and diminished capacity for virtue. Today, you'll learn to view rest not as the absence of discipline, but as an essential component of it. Stoic wisdom. The mind must be given relaxation. It will rise improved and sharper after a good break. Just as rich fields must not be forced, for they will quickly lose their fertility if never given a break. So constant work on the anvil will fracture the force of the mind. Seneca. Today's practice. Energy mapping, 15 minutes in your journal. Track your natural energy patterns throughout today. Every hour, rate your mental clarity, physical energy, and emotional balance on a scale of 1 to 10. Look for patterns that can inform how you schedule different types of activities. Strategic rest implementation. Plan and take 3 intentional 10-minute rest periods today. These should be true breaks. No digital devices, no productive tasks, just genuine renewal. Options include a brief walking meditation, sitting in nature, closing your eyes and focusing on your breath, gentle stretching with awareness. Sleep ritual design, 10 minutes, create an evening ritual that helps you transition to restorative sleep. Include elements that signal to your body and mind that the day's work is complete, such as a specific time to end work-related activities, reduced exposure to screens and artificial light, a brief review of what went well today, preparation for tomorrow's priorities. Reflection question. How does strategic rest support rather than undermine my discipline? Where have I been confusing exhaustion with effectiveness? Remember, the goal of Stoic discipline is not to drive yourself into the ground, but to align your actions with wisdom. Sometimes, the wisest action is deliberate inaction. Day 13. Overcoming acrasia, weakness of will. Acrasia is the state of acting against your better judgment, knowing what you should do, but failing to do it. This gap between knowledge and action is a central challenge to discipline that the ancient philosophers took very seriously. Stoic wisdom. For it is not death or pain that is to be feared, but the fear of pain or death. Epictetus. Today's practice. Acrasia audit, 15 minutes. Identify 3 recurring situations where you consistently act against your better judgment, e.g., reaching for your phone first thing in the morning, eating unhealthy foods when stressed, avoiding difficult conversations. For each, ask yourself, what rationalization do I use to justify this behavior? What immediate reward am I seeking? What deeper need am I trying to meet in this misguided way? Pre-commitment strategy. For each acrasia trigger identified, create a specific pre-commitment that makes your desired behavior easier and the undesired behavior harder. Examples. Leaving your phone in another room before bed. Preparing healthy snacks in advance and keeping them visible. Scheduling challenging conversations when your energy is highest. Implementation intention. Form specific if-then plans for your acrasia triggers. If situation, then I will desired response. Write these down and review them twice today. Evening power question. Where did I demonstrate strength of will today? What made that possible? And how can I build on it tomorrow? Stoic insight. According to the Stoics, acrasia often stems from false judgments about what is good or harmful. When we truly internalize that virtue is the only good and vice the only evil, our actions naturally align with our knowledge. Day 14. Week 2, integration and habit strengthening. This second week has focused on aligning your actions with your values and overcoming common obstacles to discipline. Today is about solidifying these lessons and preparing for week 3. Stoic wisdom. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. B1. Marcus Aurelius. Today's practice. Week review. 20 minutes, revisit your journal entries from the past 7 days. For each day, extract one key insight about yourself, one practice that noticeably strengthened your discipline, one area where you still struggle consistently. Commitment renewal. Return to your personal constitution from day 8. Has your experience this week led you to want to refine any of your core values? Make any necessary adjustments. Then rewrite your constitution as a renewed commitment to yourself. Habit stacking plan, 15 minutes, choose the 3 most valuable practices from this week and create a plan to integrate them into your daily routine through habit stacking, attaching them to existing habits. For example, after I brush my teeth in the morning, I will do 5 minutes of Stoic contemplation. Community accountability. Share one of your discipline commitments with someone you trust, or find a way to make yourself publicly accountable. The Stoics valued community as a support for virtue. Journal prompt. How would the person I aspire to be approached the week ahead? What specific qualities would they embody, especially when faced with challenges? Week 2 culmination. By now, you should have established a foundation of Stoic understanding and begun implementing key practices. The focus has been on clarifying what matters to you and aligning your actions accordingly. Next week, we'll deepen these practices and help you develop resilience for the long journey ahead. Week 3. Building resilience and overcoming obstacles. Day 15. Facing fear and expanding your comfort zone. Fear is perhaps the greatest enemy of discipline. It keeps us small, prevents growth, and provides endless excuses for inaction. The Stoics faced fear directly, understanding that courage is not the absence of fear, but action in its presence. Stoic wisdom. It's not because things are difficult that we dare not venture. It's because we dare not venture that they are difficult. Seneca. Today's practice. Fear inventory. 15 minutes in your journal. List your current fears, from minor anxieties to major terrors. For each, ask, is this primarily within or outside my control? What's the worst that could realistically happen? Could I survive and learn from this worst-case scenario? What growth might be waiting on the other side of this fear? Comfort zone challenge. Identify one fear-based boundary you can push today, something uncomfortable but not dangerous. Examples might include initiating a conversation with a stranger, speaking up in a meeting where you'd normally stay silent, taking a cold shower for 60 seconds, making that difficult phone call you've been avoiding. Fear deconstruction. 10 minutes after completing your comfort zone challenge. Write about what you actually experienced versus what you feared. The resources, internal and external, that help you through. What you learned about yourself in the process. Evening reflection. Where else in my life am I letting fear make my decisions? What would change if courage became my default response? Remember, the goal is not to eliminate fear, but to stop allowing it to dictate your choices. As Epictetus taught, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Day 16. Responding to setbacks, a more FHI. Setbacks and failures are inevitable on any worthwhile path. What distinguishes the disciplined from the undisciplined is not the absence of failure, but the response to it. The Stoic concept of a more fatty love of fate teaches us to embrace even our difficulties as part of our development. Stoic wisdom. Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens happen the way it happens. Then you will be happy. Epictetus. Today's practice. Setback analysis. 20 minutes, reflect on a recent setback or failure. In your journal, explore the objective facts of what happened, separate from your interpretation. How you initially responded emotionally and practically. What this experience has to teach you. How this apparent obstacle might actually serve your development. Reframing exercise. Take that same setback and write 3 different ways of viewing it that highlight potential benefits or growth opportunities. Challenge yourself to find genuine advantages in what initially seemed purely negative. Practical response plan. Based on your analysis, create a specific plan for moving forward that incorporates the lessons from this setback. Focus on what is now within your control. A more fatty meditation. 5 minutes, close your eyes and bring to mind your setback. Breathe deeply and silently repeat, I accept this fully as part of my path. I not only accept it, I embrace it as necessary for my growth. Stoic exercise. At 3 points today, pause and say to yourself, everything that happens is neither good nor bad in itself, but only in my judgment of it. How am I choosing to judge my present circumstances? Day 17. Eliminating excuses and taking radical responsibility. Excuses are the language of the undisciplined mind. They provide temporary relief from the discomfort of confronting our own choices, but ultimately weaken our character and undermine our goals. The Stoics emphasized radical responsibility, ownership of our responses regardless of external circumstances. Stoic wisdom. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. Today's practice. Excuse inventory. 15 minutes. List the excuses you most commonly use to justify lack of discipline or progress toward your goals. Be brutally honest. These might include, I don't have enough time. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. My circumstances are uniquely difficult. I need more information/resources before I can begin. Excuse elimination. For each excuse identified, write the deeper fear or discomfort this excuse protects you from. A counterstatement that embodies radical responsibility. A specific action you can take today that defies this excuse. Language vigilance. Pay careful attention to your speech today, both internal and external. Each time you catch yourself beginning to make an excuse, stop and rephrase your thought or statement to reflect ownership of your choices. Evening accountability. 10 minutes, review your day with these questions. Where did I take full responsibility for my choices and responses? Where did I slip into excuse-making or blame? What's one specific area where I will practice greater responsibility tomorrow? Stoic insight. According to Epictetus, who spent his early life as a slave, even in the most constrained circumstances, we retain the freedom to choose our attitude and internal response. If he could claim this freedom while in literal chains, what excuse do we have? Day 18. Handling criticism and social pressure. External opinions often derail our discipline, whether through direct criticism or subtle social pressure. Others' judgments can make us question our path or abandon our principles for temporary approval. The Stoics developed powerful techniques for maintaining inner sovereignty amid social pressures. Stoic wisdom. If any man can convince me and bring home to me that I do not think or act aright, gladly will I change. For I search after truth, by which man never yet was harmed. But he is harmed who abides in his error and ignorance. Marcus Aurelius. Today's practice. Opinion analysis. 15 minutes, reflect on how much energy you spend worrying about others' opinions. Ask yourself, whose opinions do I value most and why? Am I giving more weight to some opinions than they deserve? How often do I compromise my values or goals for social approval? What would change if I cared less about external validation? Criticism processing framework. When facing criticism today or reflecting on recent criticism, use this framework. Is there a grain of truth I can extract and learn from? Is this criticism about my actions potentially useful or my character rarely useful? Is the source someone whose wisdom I respect? Does this criticism align with my personal constitution and values? Social pressure immunity building. Identify one area where you typically yield to social pressure against your better judgment. Create a specific response plan for the next time you face this pressure, focusing on polite but firm boundary setting. Evening journal prompt. How might worrying less about others' opinions liberate my energy for more meaningful pursuits? What's one step I can take tomorrow to reduce my dependence on external validation? Stoic exercise. Imagine the criticism you most fear receiving. Visualize yourself hearing it, acknowledging any emotional response without acting on it, extracting any useful feedback, and then continuing on your chosen path with renewed conviction. Day 19. Delayed gratification and impulse control. The ability to delay gratification. to choose future benefit over immediate pleasure is perhaps the single greatest predictor of success and well-being. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology confirmed it, teaching practices to strengthen impulse, control, and lengthen our decision-making timeframe. Stoic wisdom. Self-control is the chief element in self-respect, and self-respect is the chief element in courage. Thucydides, admired by Stoics. Today's practice. Impulse awareness. Throughout the day, set an hourly reminder to check in with yourself. Each time ask, what impulses am I feeling right now? Am I acting on them automatically, or am I choosing my response? Simply bringing awareness to your impulses begins to disrupt their automatic power. Pleasure delay exercise. Choose 3 small pleasures you would normally indulge in immediately today. Checking social media, having a snack, watching a video, etc. For each one, set a specific delay period 30 minutes, 2 hours, until after completing a particular task. Observe the urge rising and falling during the waiting period. Future self-visualization. 10 minutes, close your eyes and vividly imagine your future self 1 year from now, having consistently practiced delayed gratification. See the benefits in detail: greater accomplishment, improved health, stronger relationships, increased self-respect. Connect emotionally with this future self. Day 19. Delayed gratification and impulse control. The ability to delay gratification, to choose future benefit over immediate pleasure, is perhaps the single greatest predictor of success and well-being. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology confirmed it, teaching practices to strengthen impulse control and lengthen our decision-making timeframe. Stoic wisdom. Self-control is the chief element in self-respect, and self-respect is the chief element in courage. Thucydides, admired by Stoics. Today's practice. Impulse awareness. Throughout the day, set an hourly reminder to check in with yourself. Each time ask, what impulses am I feeling right now? Am I acting on them automatically, or am I choosing my response? Simply bringing awareness to your impulses begins to disrupt their automatic power. Pleasure delay exercise. Choose 3 small pleasures you would normally indulge in immediately today. Checking social media, having a snack, watching a video, etc. For each one, set a specific delay period 30 minutes, 2 hours, until after completing a particular task. Observe the urge rising and falling during the waiting period. Future self-visualization. 10 minutes, close your eyes and vividly imagine your future self 1 year from now, having consistently practiced delayed gratification. See the benefits in detail: greater accomplishment, improved health, stronger relationships, increased self-respect. Connect emotionally with this future self. Evening analysis. 10 minutes, review today's instances of both yielding to and overcoming impulses. For each instance where you successfully delayed gratification, identify the specific strategy that helped. For each instance where you yielded prematurely, identify the trigger and circumstances that made resistance difficult. Stoic challenge. Choose one persistent unhelpful habit: excessive social media, unhealthy snacking, procrastination, etc. Commit to a 3-day practice abstinence from this habit, not as permanent deprivation, but as an exercise in freedom and self-mastery. As Seneca advised, set aside a certain number of days, during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared? Day 20. Emotional regulation and the Stoic pause. Emotional self-regulation is central to Stoic discipline. While the Stoics didn't advocate suppressing emotions, they taught that we should not allow ourselves to be governed by emotional reactions. The gap between stimulus and response is where our freedom and power lie. Stoic wisdom. Make it your study then to confront every harsh impression with the words, you are but an impression and not at all what you seem to be. Epictetus. Today's practice. The Stoic pause throughout the day whenever you feel a strong emotion arising today, especially anger, fear, or frustration. Implement the Stoic pause. Stop and take a deep breath. Name the emotion you're experiencing. Remind yourself that this emotion is happening within you, not to you. Ask, What would the wise response be here, rather than the reactive one? Choose your response deliberately. Emotional journaling, 15 minutes for each strong emotion you experience today. Note the triggering event, objective facts only. The automatic thoughts that followed, the emotion that arose from those thoughts, how you responded or would have preferred to respond, an alternative interpretation that might lead to a different emotional response. Preemptive regulation. Identify one situation tomorrow that typically triggers an unhelpful emotional response. Create a specific plan for how you'll implement the Stoic pause when the situation arises. Evening reflection. How did emotional awareness change my responses today? Where did I successfully create space between stimulus and response? And what was the result? Remember, the goal is not to become emotionless, but to prevent emotions from hijacking your rational faculties. As Epictetus taught, it's not things that upset us, but our judgment about things. Day 21, Month 1 Review and Integration. Having completed 3 weeks of Stoic practice, today is about consolidating your progress, identifying key insights, and preparing for the deeper work ahead. Stoic wisdom. Don't just say you have read books. Show that through them you have learned to think better, to be a more discriminating and reflective person. Epictetus. Today's practice. Comprehensive review. 30 minutes review all your journal entries from the first month. Extract 3 most profound insights about yourself. 3 practices that have most strengthened your discipline. 3 recurring challenges that still need attention. 3 ways your understanding of discipline has evolved. Practical integration plan. 20 minutes create a concrete plan for maintaining your most valuable practices. For each core practice, specify exactly when and where you will perform it, what might interfere with consistency, how you'll overcome likely obstacles, how you'll track your adherence. Value assessment. Return to your personal constitution from day 8. Has your experience led you to refine your core values? Make any necessary adjustments based on what you've learned. Forward-looking journal prompt. How has my relationship with discipline transformed over these 3 weeks? What possibilities do I now see for myself that I didn't before? What specific areas of my life will benefit most from continued Stoic practice? Month 1 milestone reflection. The first month focused on laying foundations, understanding Stoic principles, establishing key practices, and beginning to transform your relationship with discomfort, obstacles, and your own mind. You've learned to distinguish what's within your control from what isn't, to see events without automatic judgment, and to align your actions with your deeper values. As you move into month 2, the work will deepen. You'll apply these principles to more challenging areas of life, develop greater resilience against setbacks, and begin to experience the inner freedom that comes from true self-governance. Month 2. Deepening practice and building consistency. Progress is not achieved by luck or accident, but by working on yourself daily. Epictetus. Week 4. The disciplined mind in action. Day 22. Decision-making the Stoic way. Our lives are shaped by the accumulated weight of thousands of decisions, both large and small. The Stoics understood that disciplined decision-making, choosing based on principle rather than impulse, is essential to a life well lived. Stoic wisdom. If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable. Seneca. Today's practice. Decision framework creation. 20 minutes in your journal. Design a personal decision-making framework based on Stoic principles. Include these elements. Key questions to ask before any significant decision, e.g., does this align with my core values? Am I choosing this from wisdom or from impulse? Your personal hierarchy of values to consult when faced with competing priorities. A method for distinguishing between decisions that deserve deep consideration and those that can be made quickly. Decision inventory. Identify 3 pending decisions in your life, 1 small, 1 medium, and 1 significant. Apply your new framework to each, documenting your thinking process. Micro-decision awareness. For the next 3 hours, bring conscious awareness to the small choices you normally make on autopilot. Before each micro-decision, what to eat, whether to check your phone, which task to do next, pause briefly and ask, Is this choice aligned with my deeper values and goals? Evening reflection. How did conscious decision-making affect the quality of my day? Where did I notice the greatest difference between deliberate choice and habitual reaction? Stoic insight. The Stoics knew that freedom comes not from having unlimited options, but from making choices aligned with our true nature and highest good. As Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, it is in your power whenever you choose to retire into yourself. For there is no retreat that is quieter or freer from trouble than a man's own soul. Day 23. Focused attention and deep work. In an age of unprecedented distraction, the ability to direct and sustain attention has become a rare and powerful form of discipline. The Stoics valued presence of mind and the capacity to fully engage with the task at hand. Stoic wisdom. Concentrate every minute on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice. Free yourself from all other distractions. Marcus Aurelius. Today's practice. Attention audit. 10 minutes. Reflect honestly on your typical patterns of attention. When and how often do you multitask? What are your most common distractions? How long can you typically maintain focus before your mind wanders? In what environments are you most focused? Least focused? Deep work session. 90 minutes. Schedule a 90-minute block for uninterrupted focused work on your most important task. Prepare by eliminating all potential distractions. Phone in another room. Notifications off. Door closed. Clearly defining what you intend to accomplish. Having all necessary materials ready. Setting a timer and committing to work solely on this task until it rings. Distraction response plan. Create a specific strategy for handling the 3 distractions that most commonly derail your focus. For each, define how you'll prevent it when possible, how you'll respond when it occurs anyway, a phrase to say to yourself to recommit to your task. Evening journal. What did I notice about the quality of my work and experience during periods of sustained focus versus fragmented attention? How might greater attentional discipline transform my work and life? Stoic exercise. For any task today, however mundane, practice giving it your complete attention. Whether washing dishes, writing an email, or having conversation, be fully present with it. Notice how this changes both the quality of your work and your subjective experience. Day 24. Mindful speech and digital discipline. The Stoics placed great importance on mindful speech, knowing that our words reveal and shape our character. In today's hyper-connected world, digital communication demands particular discipline to ensure our words and attention serve our deeper purposes. Stoic wisdom. Let silence be your general rule, or say only what is necessary and in few words. Epictetus. Today's practice. Speech awareness practice throughout the day before speaking today, especially in significant conversations. Pause briefly and ask yourself, is this necessary to say? Is it true? Is it kind or helpful? Does it align with my values? What purpose does it serve? Digital communication audit. 15 minutes. Review your digital communication patterns across platforms. For each, ask, does this tool serve my deeper purposes or distract from them? When and how am I using this platform reactively rather than intentionally? What boundaries would help me use this tool more mindfully? Digital minimalism challenge. Implement at least 3 concrete boundaries on your digital communication today, such as checking email only at designated times, removing social media apps from your phone for the day, turning off all non-essential notifications, instituting a no screens policy for certain hours. Intentional response practice. For every digital message you receive today, wait at least 30 seconds before responding, or longer for important communications. Use this space to ensure your response is deliberate rather than reactive. Evening reflection. How did greater mindfulness in speech and digital communication affect my day? What patterns did I notice about habitual versus intentional communication? Stoic challenge. For 1 hour today, practice complete digital disconnection combined with speech restraint. Only speak when necessary, choosing your words with care and purpose. Day 25. The discipline of gratitude. Gratitude might not immediately seem like a form of discipline, But the Stoics understood it as a vital practice that trains the mind to focus on what we have rather than what we lack. This mental discipline counteracts the natural human tendency toward hedonic adaptation and discontent. Stoic wisdom. He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he is not, but rejoices for those which he has. Epictetus. Today's practice. Morning abundance contemplation. 5 minutes begin your day by writing down 5 specific things you're grateful for. Challenge yourself to identify fresh items each day, including seemingly small or ordinary blessings that you might typically overlook. Negative visualization reversal. Throughout the day, when you encounter something you typically take for granted, clean water, a functioning body, access to knowledge, etc., pause to imagine its absence. Then return to appreciation of its presence in your life. Gratitude expansion. Choose one thing from your morning list and expand on it in writing 10 minutes. Explore the specific qualities you appreciate about it, how your life would be different without it, the chain of events and people that made it possible, how you can demonstrate appreciation through action. Evening reflection. How did intentional gratitude change my experience today? Where did I notice the greatest shift in perspective? Remember, gratitude is not merely a fleeting emotion, but a disciplined way of seeing the world. As Seneca advised, count each separate day as a separate life, appreciating what each brings rather than focusing on what it lacks. Day 26. The discipline of contribution. The Stoics believed that humans are naturally social beings with a duty to contribute to the common good. Disciplined contribution. Giving of yourself in alignment with your values and abilities is both an expression of virtue and a path to meaningful fulfillment. Stoic wisdom. Men exist for the sake of one another. Teach them or bear with them. Marcus Aurelius. Today's practice. Contribution inventory. 15 minutes, reflect on your current contributions to others and the larger world. How are you currently serving others through your work? How do you contribute to your immediate community and relationships? What unique strengths, knowledge, or perspectives do you have to offer? Or might you be holding back contributions out of fear or complacency? Microservice challenge. Perform 3 small, unexpected acts of service today. These needn't be grand gestures. Holding a door, offering specific encouragement, sharing knowledge, or solving a small problem for someone all count. Alignment assessment. Consider how your current work and activities align with your capacity for contribution. In your journal, complete these sentences. I am at my best when I'm contributing by. I could have greater positive impact if I. One step I can take this week to increase my contribution is. Day 27. Simplicity and essentialism. The Stoics advocated for simplicity in all aspects of life, possessions, activities, desires, and even thought. This simplicity is not deprivation but liberation. It frees attention and energy for what truly matters. In our age of abundance and option overload, this discipline is more crucial than ever. Stoic wisdom. It is not the man who is too little who is poor, but the one who hankers after more. Seneca. Today's practice. Material simplification. 20 minutes, choose one space in your home, a drawer, closet, desk, or digital space, and apply ruthless essentialism. Remove everything from the space. Only return items that are truly useful or bring genuine joy. For each item you consider returning, ask, does this serve my deeper purposes and values, or is it clutter? Donate, recycle, or discard what doesn't make the cut. Schedule detox. Review your calendar and commitments for the next 2 weeks. For each item, ask, does this align with my core values and priorities? If I were being invited to this now for the first time, would I say yes? What would happen if I declined or delegated this? Identify at least one commitment you can honorably remove to create space for what matters more. Mental decluttering meditation. 10 minutes, sit quietly and observe your thoughts. When you notice mental clutter, worries about the future, rumination about the past, unnecessary mental chatter, label it as not essential right now, and gently return to the present moment. Journal prompt. Where my life is complexity, creating unnecessary friction and stress, what would radical simplification look like in this area? And what might it make possible? Stoic exercise. For the rest of today, before acquiring anything new, even information, ask yourself, is this essential? Will it meaningfully improve my life or just add complexity? Day 28. Week 4 Integration and Habit Assessment. As you complete the first week of month 2, it's time to assess your progress, reinforce key practices, and prepare for deeper work ahead. Stoic wisdom. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. Today's practice. Habit tracking review. 20 minutes, create a table with the key Stoic practices you've been implementing. For each practice, note current consistency, how often you actually do it. Perceived value, how much positive impact it has. Challenges to consistency, what gets in the way. Ideas for strengthening the habit. Friction reduction planning. For your 3 most valuable practices that face consistency challenges, brainstorm specific ways to reduce friction and increase likelihood of follow-through. Consider environmental modifications, e.g., leaving meditation cushion visible. Trigger stacking, attaching the practice to an existing habit. Accountability mechanisms, reducing the initial scope to make starting easier. Week ahead preview. Look at your calendar for the coming week. Proactively identify potential obstacles to your Stoic practices. High-stress situations where Stoic techniques will be especially valuable. Specific opportunities to apply what you've learned. Progress reflection. What evidence have I seen that these Stoic practices are strengthening my discipline? Where am I noticing the greatest differences in my thoughts, choices, and actions compared to a month ago? Stoic insight. Progress in philosophy isn't measured by how much you know, but by how you live. As Epictetus said, don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Week 5. Adversity challenge and resilience. Day 29. Voluntary hardship and anti-fragility. The Stoics practiced voluntary hardship not as masochism, but as training. By deliberately embracing difficult conditions, they developed what modern thinkers call anti-fragility, the quality of getting stronger from stressors rather than merely surviving them. Stoic wisdom. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Seneca. Today's practice. Progressive hardship training. Choose 3 voluntary hardships to practice today. In increasing order of difficulty. A mild discomfort cold shower. Fasting until noon. Walking instead of driving. A moderate challenge intense exercise. Extended digital detox. Difficult conversation you've been avoiding. A significant test, a substantial fast, sleeping on the floor, extended silence. Mindset framing, 5 minutes before each hardship, before each challenge. Remind yourself, I am choosing this difficulty not as punishment, but as training. This temporary discomfort is building my capacity to handle future challenges with greater ease. Resistance awareness. During each voluntary hardship, pay close attention to the physical sensations that arise, the thoughts your mind generates to justify stopping, the emotional reactions to discomfort, the actual limits of your capacity versus perceived limits. Growth reflection. 10 minutes after completion after each practice, note what you learned about your responses to discomfort, where you found unexpected strength or capacity, how this practice might transfer to involuntary challenges. Stoic exercise. Throughout the day, whenever you encounter an unexpected inconvenience or discomfort, mentally reframe it as training material rather than an unwelcome interruption. Say to yourself, this is an opportunity to practice virtue, not an obstacle to my day. Day 30. Handling criticism and rejection. Few things test our discipline like criticism and rejection. The Stoics develop specific practices for maintaining equanimity and extracting value from these challenging experiences rather than being diminished by them. Stoic wisdom. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Epictetus. Today's practice. Criticism reflection. 20 minutes, think of the last 3 significant criticisms you received. For each, the criticism itself, stated as objectively as possible. Your initial emotional reaction. What truth might exist in the criticism, even if it was poorly delivered? what the criticism reveals about the values or expectations of the critic, how you can use this information constructively. Rejection reframing. Recall a meaningful rejection you've experienced. In your journal, explore how this rejection may have protected you from something not right for you. What doors opened because of this closed one? Skills or strengths you developed through navigating this rejection. How this experience might serve you in the future. Armor-building visualization. 10 minutes, close your eyes and imagine yourself surrounded by a transparent shield. This shield doesn't prevent you from hearing criticism, but it allows only the useful information to penetrate while deflecting the emotional barbs. Practice mentally activating this shield before interactions where criticism might arise. Criticism-seeking challenge. Identify one area where you genuinely want to improve. Approach someone whose judgment you trust and specifically request constructive criticism on this topic. Practice receiving it with genuine curiosity rather than defensiveness. Stoic insight. The Stoics viewed criticism as free information that, when handled properly, accelerates growth. As Epictetus advised, if someone tells you that a certain person has spoken critically of you, don't bother with excuses or defenses. Just smile and reply, I guess he doesn't know about all my other faults. Otherwise, he wouldn't have mentioned only these.